What is up, everybody? Escape211 here, and we are doing some more Mech Arena basics. Now, if you're new to the game, you've probably have seen a lot of different videos that people have been doing, mainly for a challenge for 5 tips for new players. A lot of great video sources for that out there. And I kind of wanted to do something different, turn it on its head, and think of the 5 biggest mistakes that new players make. Now, yeah, I'll probably do some other tips, probably 5 tips for new players later on, but I felt like this would be something a little different to do now, but still very applicable. So we're going to go backwards. We're going to start with number 5 and work our way down to what I think would be one of the top mistakes. And of course, if you guys have other thoughts on those mistakes, you can leave some below, but these are some of the ones that I see most people make. And number 5 would be not linking your account to something in this game. Now, a lot of people, and I've already talked about linking your account before, but if you go in here into your connections, this is where you can link with either Plarium, Facebook, or Google or Apple, depending on what type of device you have. It's really easy to connect to either Apple or Google, but Plarium is another good one and pretty easy to link up as well. And all of these are just for saving your data. If something happens where you have to delete the game, change devices, sign in with another device, anything like that, or you just like to play with multiple accounts, you need to have it linked to something, otherwise you will lose your data. And that's always something that each one of us fears. So I have seen even players that have been playing longer than just early games still don't have their stuff linked and they lose it. So you definitely want to link your game to one of these as soon as possible just to make sure your data is safe. But the other one, of course, on here is Facebook. A lot of people want to link it to that because, first of all, you get free 100 A coins, which is nice. And then you get to have more than 100 friends, which is also really nice. But if you're going to do that, word of caution, make sure you link it to the right Facebook. I've said this before, but it deems repeating, especially for your new players. Make sure you connect it to the right Facebook. And that, I would say, is usually some type of alternate or gaming Facebook. That's the way I do it and what I usually recommend to people, because otherwise your personal Facebook is visible by all the people that you play with who you've made friends with on Facebook, right? So you want to be cautious of that. A lot of people will make the mistake of quickly connecting to their personal Facebook and then realizing a few weeks later or shortly after, like, oh, this is a bad idea. I don't want all these people seeing my personal information. And then you have to switch it. The only way you can do that is with the help of Plarium support. It's not something you can easily switch yourself, and it can be a pain to do it. So make sure when you do that, you're careful and you pick the right one. All right, but let's move on to number 4. The 4th biggest mistake that people make is opening all of your crates. And by that, I mean specifically the crates that you have right on this opening screen, your gold and your white crates. Now, when you first start the game, one of the big things you have is you basically have nothing, right? You don't have many credits, A coins, and blueprints. A lot of this stuff early on, especially, you want to be able to start upgrading it so you can get more energy, or at least do the first upgrade or so on some of your mechs and core weapons. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and the best way to get that is these crates. But you want to make sure you leave a few of these open for a couple of reasons. First of all, each day you will get 3 of your tournament tickets out of these white crates. When you hit this and you open this white crate, you will get a ticket for each time. So you want to have 3 crates ready for that so that you get those. But you also will have a quest, a daily quest, it's showing it right now, the one where you can you want to get your acquire 120 blueprints. If you have no crates and you have to accrue them, it's going to be a little bit of a pain, and it might be close to not getting it depending on how much you play in a given day and how many crates you're able to stack up just from CPC. So it's usually a good idea to leave some of these. Moreover, you also will sometimes have events. I don't know if this one has it. Well, it has one there that will tell you to open crates, like this development derby that's going on right now asks me to open 9 crates. Now, I already did it because I stock crates, but if you don't, you may find it difficult to be able to do this if you're always out of crates. So you want to make sure you save some. I say on the basis, you probably want to save at least 3 of your white crates, bare minimum. Beyond that, though, I like to save 5 of my gold and then about 10 of the white crates at base, and then do some more from there. But that is the core of what I would say you want to save. Otherwise, yeah, definitely open all those crates and get those resources to help you out. Just save a few on the side. All right, so that's number 4. Number 3 is not taking advantage of the shop or the freebies that are in the shop. Now, if we look again at the screen, actually my face is covering it right now, but this shop button down here in the bottom, you can click on that. And I'm not talking about all the premium stuff in the shop. Definitely, I'm not talking about all the things you have to spend money on, but there is a section in here, this one right here, that has these 6 items right in the center. First of all, you have your steel crate, which is great for getting, again, a bunch of these resources, but also your tickets. You get 2 tickets, and there are 3 different crates that you get in a day, so you get half of 6 of your free tickets for tournament from these steel crates. Now, a lot of people will open one to be able to do their daily thing for the shop like I just did, but sometimes they forget about the other 2. So there are 3 crates that you will get for free, and you will get 6 tickets out of that. But also you get those credits and those blueprints, which is really nice. So that's the first thing that people miss in the freebie shop, but also looking at these other 5 slots for blueprints is a big deal. And let me tell you why. As you start progressing in this game, as you get up to 4, 5, 6 stars, and then the end game of trying to max a mech, you need thousands of blueprints for like everything. All right, and even more so for the common and the uncommon things, and some things that you will want to take all the way to end game. You will need so many blueprints. Now, of course, you don't necessarily have to have all of them when you do upgrades, and you can use A coins to fill in the gap of missing blueprints, but that gets really expensive. And any blueprints you can get now, even if you're getting a few here and there and stock them up, it will help you much later in the end game. So for instance, not that I really upgrade this weapon too much, but this 6 energy weapon, the plasma cannon, is one that I don't have maxed, and one that I, may at some point max later. This one is worth me getting, and not only that, it also helps me to complete my other daily quests. So after I get this, you'll see that it completes my daily of using 2,000 credits. I mean, I'm kicking out the regular dailies as well as making sure I'm providing for myself in the long run. Anything that's like 8 to 10 energy or any other mechs that you use that are important mechs, you're going to want to get the blueprints from the shop when they're available. You don't have to break the bank, and if you're saving for something and you don't want to spend too many credits or A coins, you can skip it for a day here or there, but definitely keep a watch on this. It'll definitely help you for the long-term game of upgrading all of your stuff. I didn't do it when I was early on in the game, and it bit me later on when I was trying to do some other stuff. So I've been keeping an eye on the shop, and it's always good to start early with that kind of stuff. So that's another mistake that I see people make. All right, let me go back, and we're gonna go to this next one. This is number 2. This is one of the second biggest mistakes that I see new players make, and that is unlocking all of your hanger slots. When you first start the game, you get 1 hanger slot, and then you can open up 1 or 2, and it gives you more mechs than you actually need to put in your hanger, because especially early game, once you get used to using 1 or 2 of the really good mechs like Panther or Killshot, you're not really gonna need all of your base slots open. And when you get into the 3rd slot, when you get into the 4th slot and the 5th slot, these can get really expensive. The 4th slot actually isn't too bad. It's about 12 to 13,000 credits, which isn't a ton, but when you're trying to upgrade and buy all those new mechs and weapons, you try to save as many credits as you can. But the one that's a biggie is the 5th slot, which actually costs 8 coins. Now that is expensive, and that is one that a lot of people don't need, because when you first start playing, like I said, you're going to have 2 or 3 mechs that you're going to use a lot, and the other ones will just be filler that you're hardly ever going to touch. Yeah, once you start getting mid-game and you start filling out your hanger, then get those slots as you need them, especially to round out your hanger with the options that you need, and then backup mechs or other mechs that are going to be important for you to still use. But, throwing your 1-star Paragon or your 1 or 2 star Lancer in there just to fill a slot because you spent the A coins on that 5th slot really isn't the best use of their resources or your resources. So it's definitely something that you want to think about before you open all of those slots if it saves you some A coins, because early on some of those A coins are important, right? You want to get the Shotgun 4, you want to get the Javelin Rack 6, you want to get the Panther, all those kind of things as soon as they're available, and those cost A coins to purchase. So you want to make sure that you have those A coins early game to get that stuff so that you can have a solid hanger instead of just a wide, weak hanger. All right. So that is number 2, and that's a pretty big one that I see a lot of people do. But number 1 is one of the biggest in my opinion, and that is purchasing and upgrading things you just don't need. All right, there's a lot of times when you first start that you don't really know what you need. I totally understand that. So you kind of fall into the trap of feeling like you need to upgrade stuff, especially because of how this game works. Now, as a lot of people have already said, once you start playing this game a little bit, the AI starts to jack up and get really tough, and you're going to feel the need to upgrade. But you want to hold off and make sure you upgrade the things that are important. I have other videos related to this kind of stuff that talk about the progress path and some things that I think are some of the better things for you to focus on, and some that you can just pass on by. But, you know, I'll leave a link for that if you want to check it out. But yeah, you don't want to spend too much on those early game mechs or spend too many resources on your Paragon or your Lancer or maybe even your Juggernaut early on. You want to make sure you get the important mechs and the important things that you need to get, and then focus on upgrading those. I hope that was helpful overall though, you guys. And you know, if you have some other thoughts of different traps that you've fallen into, or what you think some of those big traps that new players fall into could be, feel free to comment below. And like I always say with this series, if you have certain things that you want to see as a new player for us to do videos on, please let me know, and we will see you out there on the battlefield.